It was one of those nights that felt too quiet to be real. The air hung still, like it was holding its breath, and even the usual chorus of crickets seemed to have gone silent. I had just settled into bed, lights off, the soft hum of the ceiling fans spinning above. My dog, Bruno, a calm, gentle Labrador who rarely made a fuss, got up from his usual spot at the foot of my bed and walked to the front door. At first, I thought he heard a raccoon, or maybe a car in the distance. But when he sat there, stiff and unmoving, staring at the door with that focused intensity only dogs have, I knew something was different. Something was off. What I didn't know was that Bruno's stubborn refusal to leave that door would end up saving my life. I called to him softly. "Bruno, come on, buddy. It's bedtime." He didn't budge. That alone wasn't too strange. He was curious sometimes. But this wasn't curiosity. His ears were perked, tail still, body tense like he was waiting for something. Or someone. I walked over, rubbed his head, even tried to coax him with a biscuit from the jar on the kitchen counter. He sniffed it but didn't move from his spot. He kept staring at the door, head tilted, nose twitching slightly. There wasn't a sound outside. No cars, no wind, no footsteps. I flicked on the porch light. Nothing. Just the empty street and the yellow glow of a lamppost humming faintly down the block. Still, Bruno sat, watching, waiting. I checked the locks, secured the deadbolt, and gave the door a gentle push to make sure it was closed tight. "You see something I don't?" I asked, half joking. He glanced at me for a second, and then turned his eyes back to the door. I figured maybe he heard something I couldn't. Dogs pick up on things, after all. A cat slipping through a bush, a rustle 2 blocks away. But this didn't feel like that. Bruno wasn't reacting with excitement or curiosity. He was on alert. Guard mode. The kind of stillness that feels louder than noise. I sat on the floor beside him, watching with him for a few minutes. Just silence. The kind that somehow starts to feel heavy when it lingers too long. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. "Okay, now you're spooking me, dude," I said quietly, scratching behind his ears. He didn't even blink. I stood, stretched, and made one more sweep through the house. Windows locked, back door bolted, garage closed. Everything was in place. Normal. But when I got back to the living room, Bruno was still there. Same position. Same stare. Unshaken. I thought about dragging him away, making him come to bed. But something in me, something quiet and instinctive, said don't. So instead, I grabbed my pillow, pulled a throw blanket off the couch, and lay down next to him on the floor by the door. "Fine," I muttered. "If you're keeping watch, I'm staying with you." He let out a soft whine, not scared, not anxious, more like relief. Like he was glad I understood, even if I didn't know what was coming. I must have drifted off for a bit. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe an hour. I couldn't tell. What woke me wasn't a noise. It was Bruno's low growl rumbling through his chest like distant thunder. It wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to snap me out of sleep. He was standing now, muscles stiff, ears forward, eyes still locked on the door. And then a vibration. Not from the ground, but from the air. A low, muffled hum, like something mechanical, far off but approaching. I sat up, blinking away sleep, trying to make sense of what I was hearing. A second later, there was a dull boom, not an explosion, more like a distant impact. Then the power cut out. Total silence. My phone screen lit up with notifications. Neighborhood alerts, motion sensor triggers, and then gas leak reported 2 blocks over. Possible line rupture. Stay indoors. Emergency crews en route. My chest tightened. Our house sat at the low end of a slope. If there was a leak and pressure buildup, anything could happen, a spark, a collapse, even a fire. That's when I realized something. The faint smell I had ignored earlier. I thought it was someone's barbecue or burnt wiring from a neighbor's garage. It wasn't. Bruno had smelled it. Before anyone else. And he didn't move from that door because if I had gone to bed, I might have turned on the light. Or worse, the heat. I looked down at him, still standing, still alert. He turned to me now, eyes softer. The danger wasn't over yet, but whatever came next, he was ready. And he had made sure I was too. I sat there for a second, processing the alert. The air felt thicker now, like it carried weight. Bruno nudged my leg gently, not panicked, but firm, urging me. I grabbed my phone, turned off every light I could without flipping a switch, and opened the weathered window in the hallway for ventilation, just like the safety flyer said to do in case of a gas leak. Bruno stayed right by the door, occasionally glancing at me, and then back outside. It was like he was waiting for some cue, not to run, but to act. A few houses down, someone must have missed the alert. I saw a porch light flicker on, and then a voice calling out into the night. Bruno's head whipped in that direction. A low growl again. Not at the neighbor, but at the sound that followed. A sharp pop in the distance. Not explosive, but enough to raise every hair on my arm. I could feel the shift in the air, like something had almost gone wrong. Then sirens. 2 fire trucks crawled into our street, lights spinning in slow circles, no blaring horns. Quiet urgency. They moved fast, checking valves, marking danger zones, guiding neighbors out of homes further up the block. But no one came to our door. I realized why. We were close but not in the direct risk zone. That invisible edge. The kind of thing a human might miss. But a dog wouldn't. Bruno had kept me away from switches, from walking outside, from anything that could have changed our fate. Just by being still. Just by knowing. When the all-clear finally came, hours later, a firefighter knocked gently, explained the rupture, how pressure had built up underground near a junction pipe, how one house up the road had nearly gone up when someone started their car. I nodded, thanked him, and looked down at Bruno. He was sitting again. Calm now. Like nothing had happened. Like this was just another night where he did his job. The morning sun crept through the windows like nothing had happened. Birds chirped, cars passed, and the usual rhythm of life slowly picked back up in the neighborhood. It felt strange. How something could have happened but didn't. And the only reason was a dog who refused to leave the front door. Bruno had finally laid down, but not before watching the porch one last time, like he was making sure his job was done. He didn't need praise or fanfare. He didn't know he had saved my life, or maybe he did. I honestly wouldn't put it past him. Later that day, I gave him his favorite treat, the soft peanut butter bone-shaped one he only got on special occasions. He didn't devour it like usual. He took it gently, sat beside me on the porch, and leaned his head against my leg. I didn't say anything, just ran my hand down his back and let the silence hang between us. A different kind of silence this time. Not heavy, not still, just peaceful. That night changed the way I saw him. Not as a pet, not even just as a friend, but as a quiet protector. A soul who listened to the world in ways I never could. They say dogs are loyal. They say they can sense things. All I know is, when everything was still and uncertain, Bruno stayed by the door.